Hello everyone, wishing you all a peaceful and happy new day. There are moments in life when happiness doesn't come from laughter, but from silent tears. When Alex lay there, weak after long days of fighting, each recovering breath became a fragile hope for someone always by his side. Tuna didn't say much. She just quietly cared for Alex day after day, hour after hour, with silent patience and love. And then, when Alex began to recover, little by little, Tana couldn't hold back her tears. It wasn't sadness, but overwhelming happiness after days of worry, fear, and waiting. The story you're about to watch is not only Alex's recovery journey, but also Tana's emotional journey, where love is expressed through small things. It touches the deepest part of your heart. Please watch the whole video with me. After the accident, Alex returned in a state he himself didn't recognize. His body was exhausted, his spirit weary, and every small movement was accompanied by pain. There were times Alex closed his eyes not to sleep but to hide the growing fear within him, the fear of no longer being himself, the fear of becoming a burden to others. The first thing he saw when he opened his eyes was always Tana, silently sitting there and never leaving. Tana was almost constantly by Alex's side, day and night. She cared for him in the smallest ways, as if it were the only way she could keep him alive. Every time Alex stirred from the cold, Tana would gently pull the blanket up, so carefully that she wouldn't dare make a sound. Early in the morning, before Alex was fully awake, she would rush to the kitchen to cook porridge, afraid he was hungry, afraid he was tired. There were times when, stirring the porridge, Tuna's tears would silently fall, not from complaining but from fear. Would a moment of carelessness mean losing him forever? Alex sensed it all, though he didn't say anything. He saw Tuna getting thinner, saw the dark circles under her eyes from lack of sleep. There were times he wanted to say thank you, wanted to say he was okay, but his throat tightened. Deep down, Alex felt both grateful and guilty. Guilty because that girl had sacrificed so much just to give him a chance to recover. It was that persistent presence that pulled him out of despair. In the days that followed, Alex began to recover slowly. Not a miracle, just very small steps. One morning, he sat up longer than the day before. One afternoon, he finished the bowl of porridge Tuna had cooked. Each small improvement brought a smile to Tuna's face, though that smile was still tinged with anxiety. She didn't dare hope too much, silently believing that with enough patience, things would eventually get better, and then that moment arrived. Alex managed to stand up, though still trembling. He turned to look at Tuna, his eyes filled with emotion. Tuna burst into tears. She sobbed with joy, because happiness had finally dared to appear after a long period of tension and fear. The tears weren't tears of weakness, but of love being reciprocated. In that moment, both Alex and Tuna understood that they had walked a very dark path together, and it was their unwavering companionship that had brought them back to the light. These days, Tuna is like a tireless machine. She stays by Alex's side from early morning, taking care of his meals and sleep, then rushes off to the farm to continue her daily work. Between the two places, Tuna repeats the same rhythm of life, so regularly that she loses track of time. There are days when she returns to Alex after dark, her steps heavy, but she still tries to smile to reassure him. Her body is exhausted, her eyes dark circles from lack of sleep, but Tana has never complained. Because for her, as long as Alex is recovering, all the hardships become insignificant. Under the dim yellow light that enveloped the silent room, the atmosphere seemed thick with tension. Tuna sat beside Alex, the suffocating feeling almost making it difficult to breathe. Alex took a deep breath. Although his body was gradually recovering, the memories of the accident still filled him with fear. But he knew it was time to tell everything. Each word came out slowly, heavy with pain, yet also brimming with gratitude for being alive. I thought I would never have the chance to see you again, or our son again. As he finished speaking, his hand tightened slightly. Danae's eyes trembled, as if something deep within her had been pulled out. The door to painful memories swung open. Alex paused for a moment, then continued, his voice hoarse. That day I fell into the abyss. Tuna's throat tightened. Everything went dark. No sound, no feeling. I truly thought I was dead. Tuna covered her mouth with her hand, her heart tightening. Every word Alex spoke was like a gentle but deep stab, striking directly at the fear she had tried to bury for months. In that last moment, Alex choked out, I only thought of you. Of our son. I wondered if he would still call out Dad before bed, and if he would still wait for me every night. His voice trailed off and faded. A heavy silence enveloped the room. After a moment, Alex looked up at Tuna's eyes, filled with gratitude. But God didn't abandon me. Mom and Lythuong happened to pass by and saved me. Without them, I probably wouldn't have been able to come back. Tuna couldn't hold back any longer. She burst into sobs, collapsing to the ground, her trembling hands clasped together in prayer. Thank you, God, she whispered through her sobs. Thank you for bringing him back to us. Suddenly, Tuna sprang to her feet and rushed to embrace Alex tightly. She hugged him as if wanting to engrave his warmth into every heartbeat, every breath. I missed you so much, she said, her voice choked with sobs. She was afraid of continuing to live alone, afraid their son would grow up without a father. Alex wrapped his arms around her, his embrace trembling but unusually tight. He rested his forehead against hers, whispering like a vow, sorry for leaving you to bear it all alone. From now on, I promise I will never leave you again, in life or in death. After all the indescribable emotions she had just experienced, Tuna stood silently for a long time. Her heart still trembled from what she had gone through, but then she told herself she had to continue. Tuna gently pushed aside all her worries and fears, wiped away her tears, and went into the kitchen. For her, cooking a delicious meal for the whole family at this moment was not just an everyday task, but a way to preserve the fragile sense of peace that was returning. Every movement of hers was slow and careful, as if even the slightest mistake would cause all that beauty to vanish. While Tuna was busy in the kitchen, Alex was outside watching Henry. He held the child in his arms, playing and talking, although Henry often only responded with babbling sounds. But it was precisely those sounds that made Alex laugh incessantly. Father and son giggled together, their clear laughter echoing throughout the house, filling the voids that had long been filled with silence and anxiety. Alex looked at his son, his heart aching. He understood that he had once been so close to losing this moment, and therefore, every present moment was priceless. When the meal was served, the whole family gathered around the small table. Warm yellow light illuminated the familiar faces. Tuna sat down, looking at Alex and Henry opposite her, a feeling of happiness rising slowly but deeply. She realized that after all the fear, what she needed most was simply to see them safe, right before her eyes. Alex served food to his wife, his eyes softening, filled with unspoken gratitude and love. Henry sat in front of his father, occasionally shouting out a few incomplete words, his voice still slurred. Each time, both Alex and Tuna would laugh. The laughter was no longer mixed with tears as before, but clear and light. For Henry, it was just an innocent joke. But for his parents, it was the clearest proof of life, of the future, of the reason they had persevered through everything. The dinner passed in simple joy. No one mentioned the accident. No one talked about the painful days gone by. Only small stories, affectionate glances, and pleasant moments of silence. Tuna quietly observed the father and son, a deep sense of gratitude welling up in her heart. She knew that happiness wasn't something grand, but simply being here in this familiar kitchen, sharing an ordinary meal with the people they loved. When the meal ended, Tuna cleared the dishes. Alex held Henry in his arms, the warmth still intact. In that moment, all three understood that, after all the storms, family was the most peaceful place to return to, the source of strength that helped them continue walking together, slowly but steadily.